everyone, so I decided to break up the current Beauty Basics series I'm doing and give you another tutorial, and this time it's another Christmas inspired like party look. And this look is done using mainly the new Urban Decay The Vice palette, which is Urban Decay's Christmas offering or Christmas palette offering this year. This is a beautiful palette. I never got any of the Book of Shadows, which were the previous kind of Christmas palettes. But I have seen like the packaging and stuff, and I actually preferred this one. It's plastic, so it's a little bit better for durability and for, like, say, the professional case. But some of the colours in here are beautiful. Now, I purposely used some of the more difficult colours, or the colours that I've read up that people have been saying they're having more trouble with. So this one here, Jagged, and the one underneath, Occupy, which are more bitty. They're a little bit harder to work with. They're not as smooth or as buttery as some of the other eyeshadows. So like I said, I purposely used those just to show you how to work with them. And then the rest of the colours in the palette are much more easy to work with. They're much smoother, like I said. And then because of the Beauty Basics series that is going on at the moment, I didn't show myself doing any of the foundation or concealer or anything like that in this video because there's no need. But I will link to the Beauty Basics series below, so you can look up any of those videos if you are interested in how I did my base, or as usual, all the products that I used will be on LetzMakeup.com, but go ahead and watch the tutorial. Okay, so before I start anything, I'm going to pop some lip primer onto my lips. So this will give it a chance to kind of settle into the lips and set a little bit, so by the time I get to the lipstick later on, it'll be tacky and really ready to grab onto the product. So I'll just pop that all over. And then for another primer, I'm going to use the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, and this is in Eden. So this is the kind of skin toned one. It's a brilliant primer. It evens out skin tone and takes away redness as well as priming the lid, so it's very good for anyone who's maybe pale and has slightly more see-through lids where the veins and stuff might show through a little bit. So it almost works like a concealer as well, and just pop that all over the lids. Okay, so the first colour I'm going to use from the palette is this guy here. It's called Anonymous, and it's just one of your basic like base eyeshadows. So it's a really light kind of cream eyeshadow. Be similar to maybe Blank Type or Mylar Brulee or one of those by MAC, a little bit lighter than the Brulee. And I'm going to apply that all over the top part of my lid. So I'm not going to put it on the moving part because I want this to stay tacky to grab onto eyeshadow, but I want the top part to be more smooth so I can blend easier over it. So quickly now, before I apply my lid colour, I'm going to get some black kohl pencil. This is Feline by MAC. I'm just going to put this all over the top lid as close to the lash line as possible. Not all over, just like a thick line. And I'm going to use the brush that comes with the palette, and I'm going to use the stiff end to blend that out first of all. Make sure I get in between the lashes and just flip it around to the other end to soften the edge. So I want there to be quite a good bit of black on there to really grab onto this next colour, because it's a slightly chunkier colour, so there's more possibility of fallout, so you really want it to go onto a nice sticky base and something that's quite deep. I'm going to be going into Jagged, which is this beautiful like antique gold kind of colour, but it is a little bit chunkier, like I said, so you want to be careful when you're applying it. Pick it up on the brush. It is quite soft, so there can be fallout, so tip off any excess and then press it in place. So this is one of those times when it's really important to make sure you don't set your base before you do your eyeshadow, unless you're using some kind of eyeshadow guards or something, because otherwise you'll make a big mess and it'll just be really hard to clean up. I'm just going to go ahead and do the other eye quickly in the exact same way. So now I'm going to apply some of that black kohl pencil onto the waterline. And make sure you get the top waterline as well. So I usually just place it in place, close my eye and then run it across, whichever is handiest for you. Obviously be careful if you wear contacts because you don't want to irritate them in any way or move them. And now I'm going to go back into the brush that I used to blend out the black on the top lid, and whatever is left on the brush, I'm just going to run it lightly underneath those lower lashes to add a bit of a base for my next eyeshadow, which will go underneath the eye. And I'm going to go into the colour directly underneath Jagged. This one's called Occupy. It's a beautiful kind of silver navy blue kind of colour. It's really pretty. Again, it's a little bit bitty, but it's nowhere near as fallouty as jagged, because fallouty is so a word. But it won't fall out quite as bad. And again, you want to bounce these eyeshadows in place so that they actually stay in place rather than wiping or brushing them on. Gorgeous eyeshadow. And I'm just going to go back into that blendy part of the brush again. Should just call it the blending brush. The blending brush, and use it just to go around the very edge of the eyeshadow. You don't want to go over the eyeshadow because you don't want to remove the eyeshadow, but you want to soften the edge. I'm just cleaning my brush off again quickly on a bit of tissue, and I'm going to go into Penny Lane now, which is this gorgeous like peachy gold colour. And I love these kind of colours, particularly for the inner corner, for anyone like myself who has a bit of blue discoloration from veins showing through. Because it will act as a colour corrector. But this is quite a deep colour anyhow, so it is going to be noticeable on the skin. I'm just going to use that directly around the tear duct area. Just blend it a little bit over onto the lid. It's a really, really lovely strong colour. And then I'm just going to get a new clean blending brush, which I will use for above the crease, and just use that to blend the Penny Lane into the rest of the inner area, or inner corner. I'm going to dip my brush, this is the very tip of it, back into Occupy, and then apply it just there again around the tear duct area on the bottom. So now I'm going to go into Desperation, which is kind of like a satin matte, and it's just a kind of a dark brown. It reminds me a little bit of like Smut or Mystery by MAC or something like that, in between those two. And use that to start darkening that crease area. Just go back and forth in your windshield wiper motions. And keep going until you've perfectly blended and smoked out the edge of that eyeshadow. As always, if you need to, go into a very clean blending brush and use that around the edge. It's always a foolproof way of getting a really clean blend. If you want, you could go into a mid-tone colour, or what is known as a transitionary colour as well. This one here by Laced would be similar to maybe Kid or Malt by MAC, and you can use that to go around the edge of the colour. So it just makes the transition from the dark smoky colour up to the highlight a little bit more smooth. Now to clean up any fallout you have, I would use like maybe a light kind of gel moisturiser or a tiny bit of eye cream that's okay for under makeup, and just use it to pick up any fallout. That way you won't dry out the eye by rubbing the cotton pad over it, and you can just apply your makeup straight away again. So at this stage I'm just going to reapply my under eye concealer. And I'm just going to reapply any foundation I wiped away also. Now I'm going to apply some black eyeliner above the lash line, and I'm going to use this one in Tar by Annabelle Studios, which is a really cute little eyeliner that comes with a brush in the lid, so it's really handy, especially for travelling. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that product from the pot and then put it onto the back of my hand, so there's not too much on the brush, and then apply it to my top lash line. I'm going to keep it quite thin on the inner corner, and you want to use the side of this brush so that it is kept thin enough. And then once I get to the very outer corner, I'm just going to do a tiny flick, only about that long though, because I don't want it to be a huge focus of the eye. I want the eye to be more about the eyeshadows and the texture of the eyeshadows. So I'm just going to finish off the other eye, and I'll be right back to finish off the eyes for you. And I'm not going to go for false lashes for this tutorial, so I'm actually going to use a false lash mascara. So this is the False Lash Extreme Black by MAC. It's just to get quite dramatic lashes without having to rely on fake eyelashes. and I'm going to apply a couple of coats, 2 or 3 coats, just to make sure that they're really nicely defined and noticeable in front of the dark eye makeup, because sometimes eyelashes can disappear a little bit in front of dark eye makeup. A little bit of the mascara on the bottom lashes as well, concentrating mainly in at the root rather than loading the hairs with tons of product. So to put the finishing touches on my eyebrows, I'm going to use my Catrice Eyebrow Stylist pencil. This is in the colour 30 Brown Eyed Peas, but I have my small little nub here that I'm going to finish up first. I love this pencil because it's really inexpensive, and it also comes with a little spoolie on the end, but the actual pencil itself, the product itself, is brilliant. And the colour is really bang on for my own. And just fill in any gappy areas and make sure I have a nice defined tail. I love these pencils that have spoolies on the side because you can just flip them around and brush it as you're applying the pencil. It's really handy. I always find if you dip your head down and look that way in the mirror, you'll see areas on top that need to be filled up, as well as popping your head back and seeing what needs to be filled in underneath. So just move your head around, and if like me you can make a big angry face, but it's just the best way to see how your eyebrows work and to see where you need to fill in. And then I'm going to finish off the eyes by setting my brow hairs in place with another brilliant Catrice product called the Lash Brow Designer mascara gel. So it's like a conditioning and shaping mascara gel, and this has a really cool wand. It's like a brush rather than a wand, so it's brilliant for using through the eyebrows. And then you can use like the spoolie mascara side for actual lash hairs if you want. I personally don't like eyebrows to look too done or too defined or too blocky. Well, I never like eyebrows to look blocky, but I like them to look a little bit more natural when I'm going for a very dark smoky eye. I just don't like the look of like drawn on or really heavily filled in brows with a strong eye. I just think it looks a little bit too much. So to finish off the skin, I already set my base with powder off camera, and I'm going to use the same brush that I used for my powder, which is the FB03 by Stone Lace, which is this gorgeous tapered brush. I'm just going to use a dark face powder that's a few shades darker than my own skin tone to add a little bit of contour. This is the Bourjois Healthy Balance Unifying Powder in number 55, dark beige. By using a dark powder, you generally get a slightly more natural coloured contour rather than using some of the contour or bronzer powders out there, which can sometimes be a bit red for light skin tones. And you just want to work that lightly in around this hollow area underneath your cheekbone. You can apply a little bit underneath your jawbone as well. Use it on your neck if you want to warm that up a little bit. And you can work it up into the hairline. If, like me, you want to contour your nose, just apply it a little bit on the very tip. Then for my blush, I want to keep it quite natural, so I don't want to take away from the eye colours. I'm going to use Toffee Fairy by Catrice, which is this lovely, quite natural, kind of rosy toffee colour. I'm just going to use the same brush again. And I'm just going to apply it high enough on the cheekbones and up into the temple. Using a big brush like this that's not that tightly packed is good if you don't want to apply too much colour. And I'm just going to finish off the skin by applying a little bit of a highlight. I'm going to use my MAC Pearl Cream Colour Base. Pick it up with my finger and just pat it on the very highest point of my cheekbone around the eye area. Just make sure you don't smile when applying a highlighter on this area so you don't create crinkles. I'm going to apply some down the centre of my nose as well. And onto my Cupid's bow. And quickly, just to finish off the look, I'm going to apply a lip liner by L'Oreal in 708 Always Toasted. This is the ultra resistant colour. This is a lovely kind of pinky nude. I'm just going to use this MAC lipstick called A Perfect Day. It's from a recent collection, I can't remember, but it's just a really simple nude. Any light nude will do. and just blot off any excess. And then to finish off the look, I'm going to use this Dazzle Glass by MAC. I think this was out with last year's collection, but any kind of nudie lip gloss with a bit of sparkle in it will be perfect. So this one was called Glitter and Ice. Yeah, I was with last year's Christmas collection. Now, and that's the finished look. So it's kind of like a jewel toned inspired eye look really, and then keeping it quite neutral on the rest of the face. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys. There will be another few more kind of Christmas inspired party looks coming up between now and Christmas, so keep an eye out for them, and in the meantime I'll talk to you all very soon. So long, guys.